Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. Today's video is July's Mini Manga Reviews. I have picked a selection of manga to review for you guys quickly and concisely, so hopefully you can find some new manga to read to add to your collection or to your TBR. First up is The Young Master's Revenge, Volume 2. In The Young Master's Revenge, our main character Leo has come back from studying abroad and he's out for revenge against Tenma because when they were kids, she got him bitten on the arse by a tortoise slash turtle, whichever it is, and he's scarred and he was humiliated, and his top plan for getting revenge on her is to make her fall for him and then he will humiliate her, because nothing can go wrong with that plan. Obviously. It's like he's never seen a movie. Ever. With Volume 2, the series moves along really nicely. The Rose King, who is the student council president of the super fancy school, makes his move too. He's quite obviously, after Tenma, he's interested in her too. He's going to be part of the, I'm assuming, a love triangle. If we were talking in K-drama terms, he is the second male lead who's probably not going to win, but he's going to be there to be a pain in the arse anyway. The Rose King really isn't here to make things easy for Leo, nor should he with Leo's intentions, let's be real. We see Leo and Tenma kind of get away from the Rose King in that environment and they go to public school, because Leo ends up following her because of the turtle thing, obviously. And there ends up being a competition between the two schools to win back some of the grounds, and obviously the Rose King gets involved and uses it as an excuse to go up against Leo to try and win Tenma, but we have to give him props because of him. The biggest thing happens this volume, and the biggest thing that happened this volume was that Leo finally starts to realise his feelings for Tenma might not entirely be hatred, that there might be some love in there too, which I think we all already knew except for Leo. But aside from that, we see Tenma gets to make some friends, which is a first. It was really interesting seeing Tenma kind of interacting with other people and making friends, because she hasn't really had many except for Leo. I have to say we're only on Volume 2 and every time Leo turns on the charm, I roll my eyes so hard I practically give myself a migraine, because it's like, really dude? Really? Considering this is only Volume 2, I was really surprised that the big feelings thing happened with Leo. It's a really big thing to happen, and I'm surprised it happened in Volume 2, but this series does have a really nice pace to it. It's still entertaining, it's still hilarious, it still has plenty of moments between Tenma and Leo, and then you have the Rose King to kind of keep pushing Leo and making him realise his feelings and making things difficult for him so it's not completely easy. And we see Tenma kind of developing more as a character as well. School of Horns, Volume 1. In the world of this book, horns are the defining trait of magical beings. The bigger they are, the more powerful you are. And our main character is Eru. He's a freshman at the magic school, but his horns are tiny. He has like no power and things go awry whenever he's about, and he gets paired up with this grouchy roommate, but there could be more to his power than there appears. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, School of Horns really reminded me of Harry Potter and gave me such Harry Potter vibes, not only because of the magic school that was really kind of like Hogwarts, but there are 4 different types of horns: hearts, diamonds, aces and clubs. And I really feel like Haruto is the Malfoy to Eru's Harry. He is such an arse of a character and I really don't like him, but he is definitely the Malfoy of this situation. The magic system was really intriguing and I really enjoyed learning about the different horns and what each different type could do. As for our main character Eru, I did really feel for him. I feel like there's more to him than meets the eye, and that's kind of backed up by what happens in this first volume. The first volume does move along quite speedily with that. It kind of sets everything up, introduces us to the world and the characters, and then towards the end it brings in some more elements. There's a mystery element brought in, and I really do like the pace of this series. There's a really brilliant support cast. We have the grouchy Rahito, who is Eru's roommate and seems to completely hate him. And then we have the bright and cheery Rio to kind of offset him. But there's more characters than that, and each one has a really bright and distinctive character, and they all provide a load of completely hilarious and entertaining banter. The first volume really does its job piquing your interest, introducing you to everything, showing off everything that's interesting and unique about the series. And this series has definitely caught my attention. I'm excited to see what happens next. Akame ga Kill Volume 15. This is the final volume in the Akame ga Kill series. It is about Tatsumi, who comes to the capital in order to make money to send to his impoverished village, but he ends up joining Night Raid, and Night Raid are this group of assassins that are fighting against the evils of the capital, and they are essentially part of the rebel army who are going against the Empire, because the Empire is really, really shady and really, really crappy. In the anime, I really do feel like, because it obviously caught up with the manga and didn't know how it was going to end it, it finished it itself, and I feel like it literally just killed for the sake of it, the shock factor of the deaths completely went away. You knew everyone was going to die, and you knew if there was an opportunity to kill someone, the anime would take it. It removed the shock value, and it really was just killing for the sake of it. But the anime has quite obviously really deviated from the manga, because the manga is very different and the ending is completely different. The one thing I will say is that I have never liked the Emperor. I thought he was a whiny little kid and completely useless from the start. I was kind of hoping he might be redeemed a little bit, but that never happened, and honestly I don't particularly care about him, so he died, whatever. The bad guys do finally get what's coming to them, and I did cheer a lot. The final smackdown with Esdeath was every bit as epic as you would expect it to be, and I have never been as satisfied with a character's death as I was with Minister Honest. He has been getting on my last nerve. I also completely love the fact that it was drawn very gruesomely and detailed as well. It brought joy to my heart. This volume is action-packed from the start right through to the end. The fight scenes are gruesomely and brilliantly drawn. Overall, I feel like Volume 15 wrapped things up really well, and definitely way better than the anime. We get to see how the Empire and the characters kind of end up after everything's done, and it was a really satisfying end, but I do really side-eye Tatsumi's ending and what happened with him, because I was a bit like, okay, right, how does that work? Fine, okay, we'll let that go. The Royal Tutor Volume 8. I really do love this series. I really enjoy it. I completely love the anime when I watched it. We have gone past the anime now in the series. There is a second season of the anime coming, which probably is going to cover the rest of it. Basically, we have 4 princes, Bruno, Licht, Kai and Leonard. They chase off every royal tutor they've ever had, so their father calls in a friend of his called Heiner, who looks like a little kid but is actually an adult, and they end up really warming up to him and getting on with him, and he is basically their royal tutor, obviously. Things really get interesting this volume as the princes kind of throw down the gauntlet to their older brother Ainz. They are pushing themselves because they want to become king themselves. Most of this volume focuses on Licht, but we do get to see a bit of Leonard, and he gets to shine for once. We all know Leonard's not that great at learning and the studying and everything, so it was nice to actually see him get to shine for once. And alongside that, we got to see more of Maximilian, who is one of the guards, and he and his little guard friend are always lurking with the princes, but I have been curious about them and hoping to get to see more of them, especially as Maximilian is related to Rosenberg, and I'm kind of hoping Maximilian's not going to stab them in the back. I don't think he is. We also have a new character called Elmer brought in, who is Kai's friend, Kai's first friend back at Military Academy. Kai finally has a friend, you guys, and I felt like the staff of the palace did, I felt like a proud mother that Kai had finally made a freaking friend. So we have those few first chapters that are entertaining and a little bit heartwarming before we start digging into the more serious stuff for the rest of the volume. Like I said, this volume focuses on the younger prince, and I think we all knew it was a matter of time before someone found out about his job. I think we all knew that. And in this volume, one of his brothers kind of has suspicions and finds out, and he ends up being at odds with that brother. I really do think it was the worst possible one that could have found out as well, and I could see it happening, and I knew it was not going to end well, and I'm kind of just like, for God's sake, give him a break. Unlike the other princes, Licht has had his eyes opened to what it's like in the real world for regular people. He's kind of facing a crisis as he has a few different options that he could take, and I'm actually really interested to see which option he's going to take and which way he's going to go. With Volume 8, the plot really moves forward. We're moving away from the kind of entertaining, light-hearted arcs and focusing on a solid story arc with the princes vying to become king and seeing, presumably, each one of them struggle with that individually, starting with the youngest. I usually manage to remain pretty calm when I'm reading Royal Tutor, but the cliffhanger ending for this volume had me screaming, because the shady as fuck Rosenberg, who we know is shady and has been making things difficult for them since day one, comes up to the youngest prince like, let me help you, my dude, one less person in the way of Prince Ainz becoming king. We all know he is literally not going to help the youngest prince whatsoever. He's just doing this to help Ainz in his own position or whatever, so we know this is going to go badly wrong, and it ends on a cliffhanger, and it's just like, for God's sake. I can just see this not ending well for him. Literally. Kakagekuri, aka Compulsive Gambler, Volume 6. In this series, we are at a private academy for kids of the wealthy, and they basically have a curriculum entirely made up of gambling. All they do is gamble, and if you win, great, brilliant, you're the king of the world, you're rich, even richer than before, things are good. If you lose, you basically become a slave, which they call a house pet. And our main character, Yumiko, arrived in Volume 1. She's a complete gambling addict and completely crazy. Let's be real. So in this volume, the Student Council President's secretary, Sayaka, challenges Yumiko because she finally completely loses her shit, which I think we've all seen coming since day one. And there's no card games, instead it's a race in a tower of doors to see who can get down and then up again first, but the consequences are really, really deadly because the president's basically like, whoever loses, I'm gonna make you jump off the tower and die, basically. This series is completely freaking crazy and the stakes keep getting higher, but this literally just got crazier than even I thought it would get. Aside from that, this volume made me feel super intelligent because I worked out what the deal was with the doors and the moving stuff and the puzzles before the main characters did, for once. Interestingly, in this volume, the president seems to get on really well with Yumiko. I would say they have quite the bromance going on. I just can't work out what the president's motivation or goal is, or what it is she's after. I get the gambling, I get they love gambling, but there has to be more to it than that. There has to be. The thing that I really liked about this volume is that it was mostly from Sayaka's point of view, and I feel like that really added to the tension because we had no idea how Yumiko was getting on. We saw brief glimpses of her and what she was doing very briefly, and it didn't look good. At one point I genuinely thought Yumiko was screwed because pretty early on in this series, it became incredibly apparent that even though Yumiko was the main character, she wasn't going to win and succeed all the time. And it was one of the plot twists that really, really shocked me because I thought Yumiko was safe. I was like, no, she won't lose, it's all going to be good. And then the series was basically like, no. So I genuinely thought Yumiko was completely screwed, and I was like, okay, this is it, Yumiko's going to die. I don't really want to say too much else because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But this volume was incredibly intense. It was very well done. I love the POV being changed to Sayaka. I'm still super intrigued by the president and what her motivation is and what she's after. I'm getting really desperate now to know what the deal is. And while this volume is really tense, it also feels like the calm before the storm, especially as the president dropped a bomb that is going to send things completely freaking crazy next volume, as if things couldn't get any crazier than they already are. This series is literally just crazy all the time. Kiss Me at the Stroke of Midnight Volume 6. This series is a Cinderella retelling, and our main character kind of feels that she is above dating and crushes, but she still dreams of a fairy tale romance, and she just happens to bump into Cade, who is a celebrity because he's filming his movie at her school. They end up hanging out completely by coincidence, and they find out each other's secrets. Questionable secrets. And we've been watching the romance grow and develop between the two of them, how they overcome the fact that he kind of has to keep her secret that she's dating a celebrity, the drama that's ensued because Cade was part of a group called Funny Bone and things obviously didn't end well, and one of his bandmates, if not all of them, are kind of out to get him. And then you've got Hinana's friend who has feelings for her too, and then the ex-girlfriend showed up, so we've been navigating this relationship with them and all of the trials and tribulations. I do find the series hugely entertaining. It is a little ridiculous at points, but it does have me chuckling, and I think the two main characters are totally cute. But this volume did leave me feeling a little bit disappointed because last volume Cade's ex-girlfriend showed up, and for this volume I was expecting the drama to fully kick off, and I was here for it. I was ready for some juicy drama. But the whole thing with his ex-girlfriend basically got resolved in the first couple of chapters, and now they're friends, and I was kind of like, okay, I mean, that's a good thing for Hinana, but at the same time, where is the drama I have been anticipating and waiting for? I mean, I do quite like the ex-girlfriend, and I did like how things were resolved between the two of them, but I wanted my love square. Fortunately for us, Mitsuki might step up because he is the ex-bandmate of Cade who appears to have the biggest grudge against him. Why, I don't know yet. Still, we're on volume 6 and I still don't know. The mystery is genuinely beginning to drive me crazy right about now, but there is a pretty big bomb drop about it, and I can't decide if that was meant literally or figuratively. So while this volume did start off a bit disappointing for me, it did end strongly as we've had more clues dropped about what went down between Cade and Funnybone, and Cade is finally ready to speak and tell us, and then the volume ends, because of course. So those have been my July mini manga reviews. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below which one you want to add to your TBR, and if you've read them, what your thoughts were. I will link all of my social media down below, as well as links to the books so you guys can check them out. Feel free to hit that subscribe button too if you'd like more bookish manga and anime related content, and give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys soon.